I did want to throw in a situation here where we have the nut flush draw on a monotone board as well. So the example here is we have ace 7 with the ace of spades on 6 jack queen of spades. In situations like this, it's similar to when we have the nut flush draw, the regular nut flush draw, but it's a little bit of a weaker hand because now our opponent can already have that made flush. So a couple things do change here. At the 100 ante level, we do now want to play this hand more aggressive rather than go for the more trappy check call kind of line. The reason for this is just a good hand to set up a multiple barrel bluff here. And this applies to deeper than 100 antes as well, because we do have the ace of spades. We want to be able to bet flop, bet turn, shove river in the instance that our opponent is calling down with perhaps a set, or if we're super duper deep in terms of antes, or if the game is has fewer players, because of course then the antes play deeper, as I've discussed in the what stakes am I playing slide. In those situations, that ace of spades becomes even more important, because even if the board pairs, right, in no limit hold'em, when you're setting up this bluff with the with representing some sort of flush and the board pairs, or this is a more common thing, I guess, in pot limit Omaha, when we had the ace of spades on this board and the board pairs, well now, you can't really, there goes your bluff situation. You can't really bluff as much because your opponent's going to have a lot of full houses. In this game, even if our opponent does make a full house, then, obviously if we did have the nut flush, we would be beating their full house. So this is the type of hand where, especially deep, we want to be putting the pedal to the metal. Its all-in rating, however, goes down to an N, and that's just because our opponent can now already have a made flush, and when they do, our equity is not great. So this is a slightly less strong hand in general than the nut flush draw on the non-monotone board, but we do want to make sure that we are playing it aggressively, even more so than when we have the nut flush draw on just a regular board. We want to play it more aggressively on the monotone board. So let's go ahead and check out what our equity does look like when our opponent has that flush. So if he had the king 8 of spades here, as you can see, just really bad in short deck, only 20%. Whereas in no limit hold'em, we'd still have a 29% shot of hitting our flush here. In short deck, it's 20%, and the reason why is, there's only 3 spades left in the deck. We'd need the 7, 9, or 10 of spades to bail us out, and that's just not a very likely proposition.